This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good Yar everyone. Gamar Chasima Toiva. Hope everybody is having easy fast and had a good Yom Tiv. We're continuing in the Yesod Hateshuva of Rabbeinu Yoina. And Rabbeinu Yoina just taught us the prayer of the penitent. And now Rabbeinu Yoina is telling us the path that one could safeguard the road and the voyage of Tshuva. Says Rabbeinu Yoina, V'zeh haderech asher yelech ba. This is the road to go on. Lahargel atzmai, to accustom yourself, lihishamer mikol chet, to be careful from any sin. Follow the following path. Ba'boiker me'ez hekitzai mishnasa, in the morning, from the time you awaken from your sleep. Yachshav bedata, you should think in your mind, ki yashav derachav, that you are in penitence. You're doing tshuva. So when you wake up in the morning, we've been talking about this at length lately, that tshuva is something that is constantly on our minds. Before we eat a meal, we do tshuva. Before we do a mitzvah, we do tshuva. Before a day is over, we do tshuva. Before we go to sleep, we do tshuva. But Rabbeinu Yoina says when you wake up in the morning, you should think that you're in penitence. I'm doing tshuva, v'yifashish masav, and examine your ways. How did I wake up? How did I wash negel vaser? Were my thoughts clinging to Hashem? Do not pervert, to the best of your ability, even one footstep. Until breakfast. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break up the day into small, bite-sized pieces, so that instead of saying, okay, I have to be careful the whole day from sin, no, that's too much. But rather, we're going to break it up into small bite-sized pieces. It's interesting that, when I read books, when I read Sfarim, in our humble Sfarim, I like to make subtitles, because it just makes it easier on the reader, because the reader doesn't have to read 100 pages. Now I just have to read one paragraph until I get to the next subtitle. The same thing with tshuva. If you think, okay, I can't sin the whole day, it's in a way, it's too much to bear. So therefore a person should say, okay, I'm now going to focus on from wake up until breakfast. And I'm going to analyze whether I did everything properly from wake up until breakfast. And it's interesting because we know when it comes to tshuva in general, it's always important to start with small steps. That's the side of the whole avodas hatshuva. They have to start with small things, not accept things that are too difficult. The Rav Goldberg cites a famous story about the Stipler, where the Stipler once had to stand guard in the Russian army in the freezing cold winter, and basically the guard would wear a very heavy coat, and when his shift was over and it was time for the next person to take over, so the guard would hang up his coat maybe on a tree, and then the next guard would take the coat. So it came time for the Stipler guard, his watch. So the previous guard took off the heavy coat, he hung it on a branch on the tree, and the only thing is it was Shabbos, and one cannot put something on a tree or take something off. So it's an Issur D'Rabbanan, but it's Pikuach Nefashos. But the Stipler said, okay, he'll wait a few minutes until it's Mamish Pikuach Nefashos, and then he'll take it. And then when the few minutes passed, he said, okay, I'll wait another 2 minutes. And then I'll wait another 2 minutes. To tell yourself, I'm not going to put on the coat the whole night, who could withstand something like that? But you take it one moment at a time. So same thing with tshuva. We're going to break up the day into bite-sized pieces. From wake up till breakfast. From breakfast till dinner. From dinner till sleep. And basically, when it comes time to eat, yizvadeh, confess, if you perverted anything the way it was supposed to be. By the way, in general, we pointed out from the Reishis Chachma that if you want your table to be mizbeach kapara, then before you eat, you should be misvadeh. The Shla Kadosh says that even on Shabbos, where we don't say videi on Shabbos before you eat, you should say the pasuk, Umal Hashem leikecha, es levavcha v'es levav zarecha. And Basically, by saying vidui, every interval, every meal, and by looking back at the past interval and confessing for anything improper you may have done until then, you're basically putting yourself in a situation where you're not really gonna wanna sin again, because if you're gonna sin, you have to say vidui again, and then it's gonna be you're gonna be rendering your vidui meaningless if you keep on repeating it. This way, if sin comes your way, you're going to be careful to avoid it. You're going to say, how can I do this terrible evil? And then I'm going to have to say vidoy on it? Meaning, once you say vidoy in the morning, by breakfast, you're not going to want to repeat the aver, because you're going to say, I'm going to have to say vidoy again. I'll be like those about whom it says, "Vayifatuhu b'fiem uvelshaynom yichazvulai," and they seduced him with their mouths, and in their tongues they lied to him. V'libam leinachanimai v'leinemnu bevrisai, and their hearts were not steady with him, and they were not faithful in their covenant. Basically, by saying vidui at every interval, that will prevent you from doing the aver again, because you're going to say it to yourself, if I do the aver again, I'm rendering my vidui really meaningless, really empty, and moreover, my vidui is going to be like an immersion holding on to the dead rat, because I still am doing the avera. So that's something that nobody in good sense would do. I'm going to be like immersing in a mikvah, holding on to a sheretz. Especially, I'm going to be acting so feeble-minded and small-minded before my Creator. I'm not able to stand up to my desire for the honor of God for such a small amount of time. In other words, by breaking up the day into these small bite-sized pieces, basically you tell yourself, what, I can't honor God just for this small interval of time? When you think about this, Yishmar me'avera, you will guard yourself from sin. V'yarotz k'tzvi, you will run like a deer. V'gibar kari, you'll be mighty like a lion. La'asos v'tzayin aviv shabashvaim, to do the will of your Creator in heaven. V'af me'avoin akevav, you'll even be careful from those averos that people trample on, that are easily overlooked, that are often neglected. Zahir, you'll be careful. Because you have set yourself up that at regular intervals you're analyzing the time spent. Well, in other words, when you eat breakfast, you're analyzing everything you did until breakfast. At dinner, you're analyzing everything you've done since breakfast. And when you go to sleep, you're analyzing what you've done since you've gone to sleep. So everything you've done is with an accounting. Higia eis ha'echel, if when mealtime comes, pishpesh, you investigated your ways, b'masav, v'loi matzi, you didn't find anything wrong, thank Hashem that you were zoicha, that your past tshuva was effective, yiyamoida, you should thank, u'mishabech, and praise of nei boiroi, al asher azroi misayna, that he helped you against your great enemy. V'zikeu, and he gave you merit, liyosha achas b'tshuva ba'olam hazeh, to be in a state of tshuva for a moment in this world. So sha'achas b'tshuva, Rabbi Yonah is learning, is not that I did tshuva for a moment, but that the tshuva that I did guarded me and preserved my state of purity for an amount of time. V'chasher asam and abayka ve'arata, and just like you did from the morning until breakfast, yasad zman achil ba'erev, do from breakfast till dinner. Before you eat, yisvada, you should confess. Again, this is like we saw from the Reishis Chachma, the Shla, before you eat, you should confess. In the same way that we said regarding breakfast, analyze what you've done since breakfast, all your activities, did anything deviate from what was supposed to be? And then from dinner until you go to sleep, you should analyze your ways. These These are 3 intervals in the day, l'shloisha viduyim, for 3 confessions, namely, breakfast, dinner, sleep. Confess before that. That will put you in a certain state of being that it will preserve you and guard you to be able to be always sha'achas b'Teshuva. Thank you very much, everyone. Here's the plan. Tomorrow we don't usually gather. I would like to, because it's before Yom Kippur, but it's going to depend how I'm doing with the Shabbos Shuvah Drasha. So stay tuned for tomorrow whether we get together. Otherwise, we still have. No, we don't have Monday. Okay, so we'll see. I guess we'll give it a shot. Bli neder. We'll see how it goes. We'll keep you posted tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Easy fast. Bracha v'atzlacha.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.